What's up, Amazon sellers? How are you? I got a, just going to quickly say hi. We got a hey, hiya, hi. Hope you can hear me all right. I'm just going to check they're actually live. I think we're live also on YouTube because I can see that, but I will just double check. Obviously, if you don't know, this is the Fast Track FBA, the Fast Track FBA weekly kind of like YouTube live. It's really just for me to kind of share some thoughts with you, maybe help you out. The one thing which I will kind of say is like, look, I'm not an expert. Last year we did like 2.1 million, I think it was, pounds, and obviously done, like just a quarter of a million last year in the US just starting. And the idea is I'm just sharing like my thoughts, what's worked for me. It doesn't mean it's the right answer. There are many ways to do this business. So just be mindful of that. So obviously, if you've got any questions, do drop them down below, and obviously I will answer them. But let me just have a quick look through. I want to make sure they're actually live, so there's no technical problems, and check that. So give me 2 seconds. Yeah, I can see. You see me? Hey, we're live. That's cool. And I should be live on the Facebook group as well. I will just double check that and make sure there. But guys, if you've got questions, do drop them down below. Obviously, I'm here to help. There we go. Look. Hey, live on the Facebook group. So if you do have any questions, do ask me. Also, I'm here to help, but I can also talk about my business. But my God, you get to see it all on YouTube anyway, so I wouldn't worry about that. So, Voton James, hiya, good to obviously see you. If there's any questions or anything I can help you, do drop it down below. But I think we got a question. I'll kind of crack on. Harminder, hey Harminder, hey Tom. Lovely weather in the UK today. Cutting the grass whilst listening to you. Oh, fantastic. Hey, cool. We had a beautiful weather in Mexico City over the weekend. If you don't know, I'm here with Seth. Well, Seth has come over to visit, and it's like it's like these beautiful London days. Absolutely love them. So really happy with that. But it's just nice, and I think the interesting thing, which I will say, is kind of like on my journey in life is it's really amazing how your environment affects you. So what do I mean by that? Well, like you're in the UK, you're it's a beautiful day. What do? You feel happy, and as a result, like you're probably more inclined to do some work, maybe work a bit harder, do something. Whereas like maybe when it's like, I know for me personally, like when it's a nice beautiful day, I want to eat salads, I want to eat healthy, I want to get outside, I'm really happy. But when it's like cold, miserable, wet weather, I just want to eat carbs, I want to get fat. I want to load up and I want to feel warm. And like just amazing how your environment affects you, and do that environment, that effect of the environment over the long term has a profound impact. The same thing could be said about your Amazon business. If you're in the right environment, you surround yourself with optimistic people who are growing their businesses either where you are or where you want to be, and you're around that kind of environment, that can have a profound impact upon what you achieve, and ultimately the results that you achieve. And I really believe that. And one of my big things this year, personally for me, is about getting around more people who are successful. And it doesn't necessarily mean Amazon, but it does also, it can be just business owners in general, because they think there's something I think Alex Hormozy says, and it's quite, I think you'll know it, is like, if you want a 1% life, you can't do what the 99% do. You've got to do things differently, and you've got to think differently. So that's the kind of thing that I'm really thinking about. Like, how do I change my thinking? And a lot of these problems, like if you're talking about growing an Amazon business, is growing an Amazon business, a lot of people right now are using VAs. That's what I use. And there are a lot of people who are like, I can never do a VA, or like, I can't outsource, I can't find a good VA. And immediately in how they're talking, there's like, it's just not possible. So they're just stopped. They stop there. That's it. They can't go any further. But we all know that you can find the right people. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg. They all build teams, and it's those teams which then deliver the product or the vision that they have. So our ability to build teams is fundamental to who we are in growing our business. But again, it's about who you want. So, guys, if you've got a question, drop it down below. So I'll try and give you some like my thoughts and my feedback. So Viton James says, "Hi Tom, it's really hard to source deals right now, or maybe I'm just doing sourcing wrong. It'd be good to know which marketplace. But if I just kind of clarify, look, from even in my business in the UK, we do, I think it's 300K last month in sales. I think last week was our worst week for sourcing in probably the last 6 months. I'm going to put it out there. Like, it is going to be the worst week we had for sourcing. I think, don't quote me, but it has been, it's the worst week for a long time. It is hard. February is a typically hard one. March is is not great. It does pick up again. But I think right now there's a lot of competition in the market, and obviously you're seeing prices decline. So the one thing you might be looking at just in regards to sourcing is stop trying to source something today to sell tomorrow. It might be buy today to sell in a month or 2 months time. There are some very good kind of products which maybe might come into season in spring or summer. Where you're like, damn, they're the good ones, but they're on sale today, or maybe haven't even got a good market. So maybe look at your keeper charts, look back at a whole year, and think about that, because right now they might not be selling well. A typical example with advent calendars in November or October don't really sell very well, but that if you buy them in October, they will be selling in December. So just because of today it's not doing well doesn't mean it won't do well tomorrow. That's a good thing. But I do think you're right. Let me know which marketplace it is. The US has been okay. Like the UK has been a real challenge. So I think it's something to think about. Chris West. Hi, Tom. I hope you're doing well. What virtual machine service would you recommend to log into Amazon USA account from? Interesting. So I've used quite a few. The one we use right now is called Amazon Light Sale, because it's the easiest one to do. It's the cheapest. And I say it's the easiest. It's not. It's a nightmare to set up. They're really not easy. You have to do like network layer authentication just to get it all done. There's probably like 12 steps to go through to create the virtual machine, but once you figure that out, you're okay. But that's what we did. We do use Amazon virtual machines. They're called Light Sale, but we have used other ones which I didn't really like. I didn't think they were very good, but Light Sale works out, good value for money, and also the speed of connectivity. Like using a virtual machine, we're like, yeah. Like it takes too long. If you want to know, another interesting one is I know a guy who has laptops in his house set up, and he's on a fiber connection, and the Philippines dial into the laptop in his house so that they're on the same IP as him. Very interesting. You can do that way as well. Like it does work. But Chris, I hope does that answer your question? Let me know down in the comments below if Amazon Light Sale is the one that we use. It's called DASS, Desktop as a Service. DAAS, Desktop as a Service. That's what you're looking for. And Light Sale I've used it before. I would like it. I think they have like 3 or 4 running. It works so well. But obviously they do come from Amazon IP addresses, so just be aware. So Mark says, hello, I just started my business in the US as a non-resident. Cool. It's really hard to find a bank that would issue a credit card for my business. Any ideas? Great question. We've got a course coming out in about a week's time. It's going to answer this and lots more questions. So obviously I've just done this process. It's all done. The price it's going to be like £99, $127. But it's going to go through the entire journey, which I went through, from LLC formation, bank accounts, corporation structures, accountants, prep centers. Everything you need to get set up selling on Amazon in the USA as a non-resident. It's all in that course, £99 one-time fee. So I think that'll be next week. So you'll get the answer to that and so much more. So do keep an eye out that. I will announce that tomorrow, or should say next week. But we're pretty much there. It's just it's all edited, done. Everything's all done, and that'll go live next week. But that's kind of an advance warning. But yeah, we will answer that question then, and also a lot more. So I hope that makes sense. Good question. Matthew Sun. Okay. Hi, Tom. I just opened an account and I'm going to start with books. Cool, and build from there. Fantastic. Would you say it's the best place to start for a total newbie? Thanks and congratulations. Cool. Thank you. I would probably look, I'm not an expert at books. I've never sold books in my life, but I did have dinner on Saturday with Seth. He does like a book selling club. He did over $1 million last year in sales USA. So if you ask me, I'm just going to share what I kind of know from what he said. Books in the US is a good marketplace. It does work. The UK is a lot smaller for books. So if you are just starting right now in the UK, I would probably go join his group and ask the question, if I was going to start out, where would you start and why? And I know you probably just opened the account in the UK. You can actually do global selling and open again the same account in the US and then do it there. So I reckon that. But I do think it's a good place. As a general rule of thumb, I think he buys for like $20, sells for $70. It works pretty well. And it's a good place. Obviously, don't ever list any of your books as brand new, always used. But it can work, and what I'd really say is watch like Seth's videos, watch all the YouTube channels about it. A lot of people make really good money. If you want to know, there is a meetup happening in Miami. I don't know where you're based. I think it could be next week, don't quote me, or this weekend, for booksellers on Amazon. So if you're ever in the area where it would be free, like I don't think they'd be like, I would just go down to that and go meet them, ask questions, and learn so much. So I think that would help you out. But that's my thoughts. And definitely, I think from a perspective of starting, knowing the profit margin Seth operates on is like, wow, like beats private label, beats other things. Very good model. Like I really like it. I think it's incredible. But hey, that's my thoughts. But yes, I think you're right. It is a good place to start. And thank you for the congrats. IL, how many IP complaints does it take to be suspended? There is no long story short. There is no short answer to that. There's no definition by Amazon. If I give you an example, let's say, for example, you first started selling right now and you've had no sales and you get 2 IP complaints, I think you'd probably get suspended. Or maybe you had like $100, $1,000, you'd probably get suspended. But if you were doing $1 million and you got 2, it wouldn't be a problem. We got 2 last week, and our account health is still green. We had 2 already. We got another 2, so we're now on 4. We'll clear them down, but the idea is to say that it does take, I believe Amazon doesn't say, but I do believe it is relative to your revenue. So the more revenue you do, the more IP complaints you have, the less revenue you can do. You don't. That would be my thoughts. So there's no long story short. The short answer to that. Long story short, don't get them. Fight every single one of them. Fight them. Like really fight them. If you want to know, www.fasttrackfba.com/Jeff, Jeff, is a guy we use to help fight IP complaints. It's about $90 per month. It's a retainer fee, and he's like the guy who helps you out. You just send him your IP complaints, and he'll write letters and tell you what to do back. So it really helps out. Hi, Sir Tom. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this kind of opportunity for so long. I'm currently taking a self-paced course with AVA PH School, but I'm still having a hard time finding good deals. Any advice? Keep going. Keep going. It's going to take time. Sourcing is hard. Honestly, I promise you that. Sourcing is hard. Like, unfortunately, that's the nature of it. If it was easy, we'd all be millionaires. Unfortunately, even me, who's done over £1 million in sales, I'm not a billionaire. So it's not easy. We've got to keep trying. Just keep going. You'll figure it out. Start finding what works for you. Because if there was one rule which worked, like do this, you're going to find deals. Cool. Well, because I've now just told everyone it, everyone's going to start doing it, and now all of a sudden that's not going to be profitable. So you've got to find what works for you. That makes sense. Mary Grace. Hi, Tom. Watching from Morocco. Cool. Fantastic. How's life in Morocco? Apparently there's a train or something. I'm going to catch a train in summer and go from like an iron ore mine over to somewhere else. I think it's from Morocco. My friend, in September, my friend wants to do it. So maybe I might see you. Britton James, I'm in the UK marketplace actually. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate your response. Cool. Yeah. So it has been challenging. Last week was the most challenging week. My ops manager gave me an update this morning and said very, very difficult. Last week was the hardest week. We've not had a week like it, and it's not for the fact that we got money. We got more money than you can think about, but we just can't spend it. There's a problem. So, hi Tom. How important do you think it is to use an accountant with Amazon experience when you're still a small business, not doing huge numbers? Is it worth the additional cost that most tend to charge? I think. Look, let me do it this way. I'm not a financial advisor, so speak to a financial advisor. Number 1, can you do the accounts on your own? Yes. Is it easy? No. I like to think I'm pretty intelligent. I could do my accounts on my own, but I wouldn't want to. Number 2 is, can you do it with a not accredited or anything, but like someone who is experienced in e-commerce, in particular around Amazon? Yes, of course you can. Not a problem. It does happen, and they can do it. But would I recommend going for an Amazon accountant? Yes, that's what I do. A couple of reasons why. So if I kind of just share a couple of reasons why I do it personally, I think that might help you out. So it's okay to go with a non-e-commerce specialist accountant, but the question I'd ask if I was going to try and qualify is like, tell me about your experience with Amazon. Have you ever dealt with it before? Or do you know? And what you need to understand is Amazon works in a bit of a weird way. So like, let's say, for example, I sell a product for £10. Well, off that £10, Amazon takes 15% referral fee plus that, minus the FBA fee and a closing fee, and then I get the actual difference in my bank account. Now, the money in my bank account isn't my revenue. The £10 is my revenue. So your accountant's got to understand that and be able to do the calculations. We use tools like A2X, Link My Books, which really help that out and create the correct invoices. But there's a lot of weird things, and like Amazon will charge VAT to Luxembourg, or then maybe they'll charge it into the UK, and there's like reverse charge, and it starts getting a bit complex. and just little nuances in the way Amazon deals with things. So can you do it without, like a standard accountant? Yes, of course you can. But the one reason why I don't is because I don't want to be teaching them that. And also as well, if they don't understand even like the case of how the disbursement works and how the revenue works, then it's very likely that when they think I've hit the revenue threshold, the VAT threshold of £85, £85,000, sorry, then what's going to happen is that I would have actually probably done 120,000. I'm way over. So I just want to make sure that the people, let me put it this way. When you pay for these services, you are paying for skills. That's what you're doing. You're paying for a skill set, which is not only a skill set today, but a skill set in the future, and they know what they're doing. And when things change, they're not waiting for you to tell them what to do. They're actually telling you what you need to do and advising you. So that's why I go to an Amazon accountant, because they just do it for me and save my problem. Why? Because yes, it costs more money, but the time it takes to teach them, I could just spend making more profit. That's the way it works, and that's what I would focus on. The other one, and I use Ecom Accountants, a guy called Joe runs them. They're based in London. They do meetups, which is quite cool, and I've actually met other cool business owners from them. So building your network as well. So I think, if you're going to have a conversation with an Amazon accountant, always ask the question like, why should I choose you over, and then see what value they can bring. But I do think it's worth it, and I think it might be like an Amazon accountant's like £150, where a normal accountant might be like £90. Just make the money. Go make the difference, and save the hassle. At the end of the day, you're paying these people to stop you being hassle. That's my thoughts. Again, not a tax advice. Good question, though. Really, really good question. I just received 6 IP complaints. Damn, I know the feeling. We've got 2 last week from one brand. Does that count as 1 IP complaint or 6? And set to Amazon potentially something. As far as I'm aware, 6. It's 6 on your account, so it shows 6, and that's how they track it. It's a real thing, like a real pain. So yeah, I'm not going to lie. I would just go to www.fasttrackfba.com/Jeff. He is an American, but Amazon works American, UK. Doesn't really matter if you're UK, for example. Call him and or message him, book a call, and try and see if he can help you out. He will charge, obviously, because you've got them already. You weren't under the agreement with him, but he might be able to help you with it. By the way, while I'm doing the fasttrackfba.com/Jeff, I don't get any kickback from it. There's a legal thing in America whereby if you're a lawyer, you're not allowed to do affiliates or incentives. So I don't get anything from it, but I think it's a good service. So do check him out. And unfortunately, I do think it's 6. And you've come here, how many IP complaints is suspended? Depends on revenue. And again, we don't know the answer. Amazon aren't clear. They don't tell you, and it could change at any point. So depending, we did, we got 4 in the US right now. We did 80K last month in revenue. So we're still green, no warning. So should be okay. 6, I think, okay. Matthew, I'm in Bedfordshire, UK, but thanks for the feedback. Yeah, cool. That's cool. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, no, great. Mohammed, hi. Cool. Hi, Mohammed. In the wholesale model, best method to get approved from bras, can we call them or email them? Bras? I don't do wholesale. We just started doing wholesale. Best method to get approved in bras. I'm guessing buy something from wholesale at 10 items. I get ungated in Amazon. Done. Simple. If it's in regards to wholesalers, you just got to keep trying. Call them. Hey, want to open an account? No, sorry. Okay, why? Try and find out why. Try and find the objection. We've only just started in wholesale. We've done I don't know, probably $6,000 in sales. Not huge. Harminder, are you finding sales dropping this month? No, but we don't. We do something a bit different. Sales aren't dropping, but margin is. And I think because margin's dropping, everyone else is not willing to go as low as we can. So the net result is that the sales are dropping for a lot of people because their minimums are kicking in. They're sat at minimum. And this month isn't especially. I'm seeing it all over Twitter. I'm seeing it all over Facebook. I'm seeing it everywhere. Everyone's complaining, price crashing. I hate this person. I think I've probably seen my store posted a few times going I hate you. And we have been clearing down old stock as well. So I think a lot of people are hitting their minimums. Check your price and minimum, see what happens there. If you want to know, we track that number every week. We track what the number of products we've got sat at minimum at all times. And the reason is we can just see what's going on, because we want to see are the sales dropping? Is it the fact that sales are slowing down? Or is it the case that our minimums are hitting? If you want to do, there's a video we released called 3 ways to check your sales. The last way is checking the Amazon business reports, which I'd really check. And the one thing you want to do is, Amazon Seller Central reports, business reports, down the bottom left, child sales by child ASIN, set the date range of the last week, and then maybe like 4 weeks ago. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to just look at the view counts, i.e. like total sessions, which is how many visitors are on Amazon. It could be that globally Amazon's down, and you would know that from the session on that report. Don't worry about sales. Sales is relevant to buy box. But if people aren't viewing the listing, then that will tell you that, if 3 weeks ago you had 400 people viewing it native, and last week you had 200, then you know that there's just less customers. So that'd be across the board, and it could happen. Ukraine, all these things, it could be having a real knock-on effect. Everyone's a bit worried. Also, cost of living, petrol, it's gone up in the UK massively. IL, I think we've answered that one, so I'm going to move on. Nearcus, I'm really bad. U15. How to open an account? I tried to do it. Or they said I already have a seller account. I only have a buyer account. I don't know the answer. A couple of things I'd be very careful of is don't go on shared IP addresses. So don't do it from like co-working spaces, cafes. Do it from home. Number 2, use a fresh email address. The 3, use a fresh debit card. The only thing you can't change is your ID, but everything else should be, like isn't shared. That's the only thing that I could potentially say. And then if not, then try and contact like Amazon sales support or actually say try and get in contact. I would probably look up sellers forums and have a look there. I've not had that before. And what's really interesting is I do have multiple accounts and they've never kicked that up. So obviously I do have the same passport, but I have been in different IP addresses and we use different cards when we tried to do it. So different card, different IP address, different, even like a different laptop maybe. Like, reset your whole laptop, maybe reinstall Windows, check your MAC address. I don't know, like all these things Amazon's going to track. That's all I can suggest. And then if not, Amazon seller forums, check that, see what people say. Aaron, hey Tom, I love your content as energy. Cool, thank you. My God, hopefully I'm as energetic as I am on this call now, or like normally. Now I'm energetic. There is no one else on YouTube like you. Thank you. Thank you for your commitment. Cool. Thank you very much. What would you say is a good minimum monthly or daily spend before considering a VA? I couldn't tell you the answer to that because there is no definition. It all depends on your business model. Let's say, for example, like I'm buying very high value goods and my average cost of goods is £100. Well, if I'm buying like 100 units a day, my average daily spend is going to be way more than someone buying maybe like small and light programs where they're like £2-3 and they may be buying like 300-400 a day. So there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to each. It's all about your model. But I think a very good metric if you are looking about, before hiring a VA, and something we say is that every week you want to be having a look at how much money you've got in the bank. Have a look at that. Now, if you've got more than £4,000, ideally 10, but at least 4,000, and you can do the same for dollars, $5,000, $10,000. And if you can see that for like a good couple of weeks, call it a month, for example, then I think you're in a good place to think about getting a VA. Now, the other one I would probably recommend in addition to that is time. I.e., like it takes time to get a VA onboarded, manage them, support them. So just make sure you've got at least 1 hour a day, if not 2. 1 hour to review the deals and talk to them, and then 1 hour to actually physically purchase them. So it takes time to train and develop them. It's not saying it forever, but at least for the first month, you want to be having an hour a day with your VA. That was what I'd say. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comments down below. D Sorry, I'm really bad with names. Thanks for joining, by the way. Hi, Tom. A couple of products I'm trying to add to a listing. I add the listing to my account, but it doesn't seem to show up on my inventory after list maintenance. Login issue with Seller Central. Sometimes you do get these problems. Just log in listing, say I'm trying to add this in, and then just list all the ASINs and what you want the SKUs to be, and then they'll be like, oh, we've done it, or like we've seen the error and we fixed it. Sometimes these things happen. Log a case of Seller Central. I hope that makes answers. Guys, if you've got questions, drop them down below. I'm here to talk. I'm here to answer or share my thoughts on your questions rather than do my talk about myself. IL, thanks so much, Tom. No problem, IL. Enjoying the free work coffee. We work coffee. Right. Can you share some suppliers from the UK and US where we can get good deals? Yeah, sure. Look at go to Fast Track FBA YouTube channel and just type in top 100. You'll see lots of videos about my top 100 supplier list for UK, my top 100 supplier list for USA. Download that and voila, your happy days. That's all I'd say. Right, Jeff Johnson. Can you get ungated on categories straight away on a new account, or do you require sales first? Amazon doesn't give us any guidance, so I can't say yes or no. Um, my personal thoughts are, and what I say to people as a guide rule of thumb, is you should probably aim to do at least $1,000 or £1,000 in sales first. Why? Because you've got to think about fundamentally what is the gating. Why do brands get gated or categories gated? Because there's probably a high potential of those brands being counterfeit problems, having problems which are going to ruin the customer experience. So Amazon requires you, number one, to prove that you're buying them legit. So obviously they're not counterfeit. But then also number two, they want to they also want to know that you're a good seller and you've got a bit of a history. And I think with about $1,000 is probably the minimum where you can say, okay, now we're starting to see a bit of history, and you're not just trying to unlock iPhone brand and sell dodgy iPhones and then run away. You're actually trying to sell something, and we can see you've got a bit of trading history. So the short answer is you might be able to. I don't know. I've never tried it, but in my last business, or in the current business, USA, we got to $7,000 in sales and didn't need any invoices, so we got ungated straight away. So long story short, I think I would advise get some sales. $1,000, £1,000. Great question. Alwis 92. Hey man, if a listing has a seller who has more reviews and rating than me, should I go for that product if I match the buy box price, or will someone else get it? Assuming you're FBA, my understanding, don't quote me, my understanding is that you should be fine. When you look at all the kind of metrics which make up whether you win the buy box, generally speaking, it's professional selling account is number one, FBA, match price, you should get it. It might be the case that the big seller gets it like 80% of the time or 66% of the time, and you get the difference initially. But once you start getting some sales, there might be a change. Now, I only say that because, like in the industry, the reseller community, we talk about all the other factors, but I think they really represent a very, very small proportion. But I say that because I think also as well, Amazon will probably just give it to you. So, yes, I think top tip for you: buy a couple of items, $5 or $100, whatever, ship it in, and see how it works. And the reason is you want to learn how your account is working right now versus competition. That is super, super important. So you should be fine, but I'd say just buy a test purchase and see how it goes. Who we got now? Aaron, I got it. Thanks. Sounds like I need to make sure I have consistently more money than deals before considering the VA support. Yeah, agreed. Like if you've run out of cash and you're trying to buy, if you don't have enough cash and you've got a VA, then all you're going to do is use the little cash you've got left to pay for their payroll, and then they go and find you deals, and they're not adding any value because you can't buy the deals they're finding. So you're losing money effectively because you're just paying for the payroll. So 10,000 ideally, at least 4. That'd be a top tip. Vitton James, I bet AvaPH should have a list of good deals. Yeah, I bet they do. My God, yeah, definitely. They also probably have good sites. Ask them. I'm surprised they don't supply it. I do know AvaPH. I've been on the YouTube, on their Facebook group in a live once. Nice people. Mohammed, okay. I don't think the 100 store list of suppliers. Don't you think the 100 store list of suppliers are saturated, or how doesn't it get saturated by other sellers? Okay, so let's put it this way. On average, I reckon each one of those top 100 supplier lists has 5,000 products. You're going to get your Playmobiles where they've got 100, and you're going to get your big department stores like Walmart where they've got 30,000. So let's call it 5,000. Well, if we're going to do 5,000 times by 100, it should be 500,000. So it's 500,000 products. And they've probably got more than that. They've probably got like 10,000 on average. So, and all these stores are, doing a promotion, starting a promotion, doing a voucher code, not doing a voucher code, doing a buy one get one free, all these kind of things. So there's so much variety in it. I understand what you're saying. It could be saturated, but there's still opportunity. There really is. But if you want somewhere to start, it gets you started. I don't deny that. But obviously, go find some other stores which maybe aren't on the top 100. Maybe take the top 100 list and say, not going to look at them at all. Let's go find other stores. That might be the way you want to go. Don't know. It's up to you. There's so much opportunity out there. Even now, my God, people have been doing this for years, and there's still so much opportunity. Carlos, hey Tom, I'd like to start selling in the UK. Would you suggest opening another LLC and a separate Amazon account, or use the same LLC as in the USA? You can do global selling. I don't really know the way it works from US back. Okay, let me do it this way. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to give you my thoughts. If I was you, what would I actually do? So let's do the same kind of the case study I did in the US. First things first. Okay, the big question I'm going to ask is your credit card. I've got my thing because I need to buy some flights later on today. Your credit card is going to have a registered address. That registered address is going to be a US registered address. Now, the problem we face in the US is with the UK companies when you're trying to buy it, the resellers, the things are like, where's the registered card address, and they don't have the option to change the country. So, but the net result is you can't get purchase through because you can't even put the correct address in, so it won't work. So the hypotheses or the problem I think you're going to face is that the suppliers in the US or in the UK won't allow you to purchase using your US credit card. Because the addresses won't work. So if you're going to ask me, go down to the top 100 store list for the UK, go to every single one of those stores, put something in the basket, get to the payment options, and then look at can you put in the address and can you put in a USA address for let you. And now, my understanding from Seth, who does books in the UK, the US from UK business, about 60% of all the retailers don't allow you to use international cards. So my question is, would the same thing happen in the UK? Are you going to lose 60% of the retailers in the UK because international cards? If so, you might want to go down the route of creating a whole limited company. They're not called LLCs, they're called LTDs. And the idea is that you create a limited company and then you can create a bank account with it, and then you can get a credit card or debit card with that limited company, which will then allow you to start selling, create an Amazon account and do it that way. So that's what I would do. Amazon do accept you to use the same account LLC. They don't mind. You can do global selling from the US. But I think if you're doing retail arbitrage or even wholesale, find some wholesalers and see if they'll accept payment from a foreign company. That would be my question, because that's the big one. And if you can answer that, then if you're happy, do it. If not, then create a limited company. Hope that makes sense, Carlos. Let me know down below. Right, Jeff Johnson. Is there a generic list of items categories that are ungated for new selling accounts? No, Amazon doesn't provide it, and it's always changing. But we do have a video about it, like my top categories for USA for new sellers. Look at it on the YouTube. You'll find it. Cool. Yeah, that'd be the thing. Guys, if you've got any more questions, drop it down below. Obviously, I will answer them, so I'll go from there. Mohammed, okay. In a nutshell, can you explain the massive growth of Sweeney interview and the top 5 tips and pointers as he grew over the past 2 years? Yeah, I think I summarized. So if you don't know, there's an interview I did with a guy called Gavin Sweeney. Smart guy, really, really smart guy. Did 600,000 in the first 2 years. I think about 18 months, 2 years in sales. And started with 1,500, but obviously got credit later on. So really good. Watch the YouTube video, really good interview. I went and met him in person. But I think, it's been a while. I'd have to watch the video. So that was last year I recorded that. So 4 months ago. So fundamentally, why did he do well? Well, number one, he hustled. He hustled like you'd never believe. He talked about that. He is a grinder. He really, really grafted. Number two is the fact that I think he spoke to a lot of good people, learned a lot of good knowledge about flipping high value items. So, I think he talked about he was buying swimming pools, and then selling them. And the net result was that he was doubling his money every month. Also, as well, he got PayPal credit. So flipping his money for very high value items really well. He was doing, what was he doing? And then he got credit, and then he continued to do it. He said, for 3 months in a row, I just doubled my money. And now he started to build up a team. So hustling super hard, gaining knowledge, maximizing leverage, people, and credit. Yeah, that's 2 technically. And then I'd probably just say learning, always be learning, learning good knowledge again. I think that's it. But watch the video. I did kind of summarize at the end. I think, I think for you got to take away where you're at. The one thing which I'll say is I can watch a video when I first start and I will learn something like, oh, I need to do this, maybe learn the power of keeper. Cool. But when I'm doing say $1 million, I probably won't look at the keeper side. I'll be like, okay, now I need to look at the team side, and that's what I'll take away from that video. So I can watch the same video at 2 different times in my life and take away 2 different meanings from it because of where I am in my own personal journey. So I think for you, Mohammed, that's going to be something really important. Josh Johnson. What are your best rated apps for retail arbitrage? I didn't do it at all. I'm in Mexico. I couldn't in a million years. I think if you're going to ask me, the one that I quite like is SAS Seller Amp. Al Carton, the guy who creates that, creates a really good app. You get that with the Chrome extension, which is super cool. And then I'd probably just say the Keeper app, and obviously Seller Central. You want that as well. That kind of really helps out. I think SAS has it all in, but they're the 3 apps I've looked at, and you only pay for 2 of them. So yeah, I'd look at SAS. I think it's a really good app. Mohammed said, thank you, cool, no problem, Mohammed. Dan Smith, by the way, USA changed clocks. It's now daylight saving time for most of the country. Oh, wow. What's the time now? So we're going to do time now in Miami. Should we get this right? Oh, wow, it's actually 11. It's 11. Thanks for that. Oh, my God, I'm going to have to figure out my times. Yeah, so I'm still Mexico. 1 second. Time now in Mexico. Mexico City. I can't do it. Time now. I get it right, Tom. Time now. I should know this because I live in the city. Yeah, 9:36. So Mexico hasn't changed, but obviously the US has. So thanks for letting me know. And I'm flying to the US next week, so better get that right. That's going to be very interesting. Thanks for aligning that. That's cool. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've got to figure that one out. Cool. Right, let's carry on. Jess. Hi, Tom. What does one do when the supplier gets sold out and there are no other place? Find another supplier. Obviously, you said there are no other. Wait. Try look at the manufacturer, look at distribution, etc., or come back into stock. That's it. That's all I can recommend. Maybe go and buy the competitors out on Amazon if they're too low. You could do that. Look at other suppliers. There's always stock somewhere. Like that stock from supplier has got to go somewhere. Maybe you can buy that. There's opportunity. That's all I can say, really. Manufacturer. Yeah. West 92. Through which software do you check daily or monthly sales of products during analysis? I use Seller Toolkit. That's what we use pretty much for most of our work. So Seller Toolkit, fasttrackfba.com/STK, I think it is. I'll just double check. www.fasttrackfba.com/STK. Here's where it doesn't work. Yeah, it does. Yeah, and you get like a free kind of like 14-day trial, I think it is. Yeah, like I use that. I really like 14-day free trial. fasttrackfba.com/STK. Seller Toolkit. That's the one we use. Really like it. It's really good. It's really good, and it's not expensive. Like I'm not a big fan of paying for expensive software. Jeff Johnson, if opening a business account and starting a limited company for online retail arbitrage, would you require to start another LTD for private label? No, you don't have to. No, not at all. You can. Here's what you can do. So the way you can do it, you can have an LTD with an online account, with an Amazon seller account for online retail arbitrage. But you create another seller account under the same LTD. So long as you've got to read Amazon terms and conditions. Like it's quite common for private label brands to have multiple accounts under the same company because they're different brands under the seller account. So Fasttrack FBA account, Tom's private label account. So there's 2 accounts that maybe they both go into the same company, but they would do separate bank accounts, if that makes sense. So read Amazon terms and conditions. I think people do that. You can create a whole new LTD, but I don't think you need to. The only thing you need to be very, very clear about, you cannot sell the same ASIN across 2 accounts on the same marketplace. Do that, that is violation of Amazon terms and conditions. Do that, and that is likely to get both accounts shut down. And the one thing which I say is don't even get into a point whereby you might accidentally do it, because while you might do it and get away with it, Amazon might 6 months later look back and then go, oh, you did it, sorry, we're shutting your account down. So you're like, damn. So even if you've done it historically, they can do it. Amazon have a habit of doing that. So if you want to know, that's one of the reasons why we're not doing European Fulfillment Network in the UK, because we're looking to create a Germany account. And if I European fulfill from my UK business into Germany on a listing which I'm selling also in Germany by accident, then I'm on the same listing twice, selling the same product through 2 different LTDs under the same owner, and that's a violation of terms and conditions on Amazon. It's like anti-competitive rules. So just make sure you're not selling the same product. So obviously you're doing private label, you should be fine, but the online arbitrage list, brand, I would even recommend don't even bother putting the ASIN into the online arbitrage account of the private label brand. Don't even risk it. Never even have it on there. Like block it completely. Alex Butterworth, what would you say to someone who's keen to scale but uneasy about the idea of exploiting third world labor? Is there another way? Interesting. There's a really interesting question. Really interesting. Let me ask you a quick question. So let's kind of do another hypothesis. Let's say, for example, I don't know, what's the Sweden's quite no average hourly wage in Sweden. Sweden. So Sweden is 98.7 SEK to. I'm just going to do it to Great British pounds. What is that? No, it's not. Is it Switzerland? Switzerland. I like high. Okay, let's do this. Highest hourly wage in the world. Okay, so Australia. Australia is about $15 per hour. Now, let's say, for example, 1 second, European average wage per hour. So let's say, for example, in the UK, I don't like. Oh, it's really, really hard. So the question is like, let's say, for example, Australia is like $15 an hour. And let's say, for example, I don't know, like, actually, Sweden, we just did it £7 £9 an hour, for example. So what you could say is someone, if someone from Australia hires someone from Sweden, are they exploiting them because they're not paying the same wage? You could say that based on your definition of it. Or let me, my God, I live in Mexico City and I see so many comments. I mean, so many comments from people from Mexico who are saying Mexico isn't poor. No, Mexico isn't cheap, it's poor. Now, I'm not saying this is true at all, but what they do say is like, when you come here with your American dollars and your Western wages, what you're doing is you're spending that money in these places, you're raising up prices, you're making it harder for the locals to live in. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad, but you can create disparities in like income levels. So look, it's not my place to say whether we're exploiting or not. It's to say you have an opportunity available. In business, whether you're just in the UK, you have the ability. You have like, hey, I want someone right now to, I don't know, to do my Facebook posting, and I'm going to pay them £10 an hour. Now, that's the rate I'm looking to pay for it. Now, whether that person be in the Philippines or in the UK is up to that person. As a business owner, I'm trying to maximize my ROI. We do it. My God, we buy a product, don't we? I know it's just a person. It's a really divisive concept or subject, and you could think about like we're exploiting them, but also on the other hand, you might think about it is to say actually we're providing opportunity. I don't know the answer. Look, I think for you, Alex, is the question: if you feel uncomfortable about it, then obviously don't do it. But I know a lot of people do it, and do it. And myself, I have like 65 VAs, I think, across the Philippines. And I think what's really interesting is a lot of the people in the Philippines who I hire, they do private message me a lot and say thank you so much for providing opportunity. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. Are we exploiting them? Well, it's all subjective, all relative. But I do see that they give appreciation for it. So I don't know the answer, but I think for you it's about, if you feel uneasy about it, don't do it. Is there another way? Sure, hire someone in the UK, hire someone in the US. It's absolutely up to you. That's all I'd probably say. But it's an interesting question. Thank you for sharing, and I hope you can see there's quite a few ways to look at the problem. Carlos, will there be an issue with Amazon if I create a new account for the UK? No, I have 3 Amazon seller accounts, if you want to know. I have a UK LTD seller account. I have a UK personal seller account. And remember, I'm not my limited company. My limited company is not me, so hence I can have 2. And then also I have a US LLC account. So I have 3, and they're all under the same passport. And we only sell on 2 of them. The personal one in the UK we don't sell on. But there's Amazon have never flagged it up, and I have logged in to the UK personal and the UK LTD from this different browser, same laptop, same IP address, within like 2 minutes of each other. But my USA one I keep on a separate computer, virtual cloud. Chris West asked it earlier on. Light sale we use. Jess, cool, thanks. If I can help, Jess. OS92, thanks, cool. Guys, if you've got questions, do drop it down below. Let me know. You've got a big one from Jeff and John. Jess, so I started an Amazon seller account under my name, but now I am in the process of creating an LTD company and reapplying for another seller account. Should I contact Amazon or closing the first Amazon seller account? I don't think you need to, and I think Amazon, it might, look, you can if you want to. I think Amazon will just point you back to the terms and conditions, which, or should you say terms of service, which say they need separate bank accounts. Don't quote me, like you got to read them. So you go back to the, the terms and conditions, like separate bank account, separate credit card, separate entity. Like there needs to be a viable reason why you need it. So like you cannot create an account for the business because you are not the business. The business can create an account for Amazon, and you can create an account for you, but you are not your business, and the business is not you. So read that kind of terms and conditions or terms of service, and that'll explain. There's no harm. There's no harm in asking or going back to Amazon. I think we did that when we first started, just in case they came back. So Dan Smith, exploitation is a social construct. Try hiring in the USA a licensed unionized worker for $85 an hour. Wow, that would be called exploiting that worker and unfair pay. Yeah, hey, like, my God, there's a lot of questions around like exploitation and social work and etc. And you could be here forever. I think at the one thing which I'll kind of let's forget about staff at the end of the day. Let's forget about that, and is to say, in the global marketplace and in capitalism, and I hate to say it's what we do, is that the market economies show that whoever can provide the same service for generally the lesser price will do better. And I'm not talking about like paying people, but you could also talk about like, Amazon and how Amazon does it cheaper than, the retail stores in the high street. Is that bad? Should they be limited? Are they exploiting, the online model? Should we tax them more because of it? There's lots of questions around this. You could even talk about like Uber versus taxis. And what's Uber done is basically crowdsourcing cars, and it's crowdsourcing customers at scale, taking a very small cut, probably less than the taxi drivers are, and also they're more efficient because of the way the Uber system works. And the net result is that Uber's caused the death of or should you say decline in taxis, not saying death, sorry. And I know it's a very divisive topic, but I do think at a very fundamental level, with the rise of the internet, the rise of remote working, we're seeing it more, is that we're becoming more and more of a globalized marketplace. And you look at even manufacturing in the US, is now a lot of it's gone out to China. You're probably going to see a lot more services going out to other countries whereby there's more efficiencies in it. Like just even within the US, obviously you're going to have variations in payroll costs. The question you might ask is going, is it bad to pay someone in, I don't know, I don't know the US very well, but like if Florida isn't cheap, but let's call it, I don't know, South Dakota was really cheap for labor, but versus New York, is it exploiting South Dakota because you're paying them less than New York? There's a disparity. You'd be like, no, there's a reason why, because it's more tax incentive and you're saving money. We could be here forever, but interesting question. But I do think I think at the end of the day, it's up to you. And at the end of the day, you're trying to build a business, and what does business do? It brings value to the customer, and if the way you find that value is by utilizing labor in another country, and that works for all parties involved in that transaction, that's fine. If there is someone outside of that transaction, i.e., who isn't happy about it, then that's their problem, not yours. Your solution is working. That's my thoughts. Not saying it's right. Not saying it's right. The personal account was verified quickly. How long is the process of applying under? It should be about the same. They just cancel. They do is check them. Really simple, very quick. Dan Smith, Alex Butterworth. Yep, got that. Cool. Nice thing. Alex, Dan, so is money. It still feels real. It's definitely relative, as Tom pointed out. It's not up to me to decide for others. There are clearly something up when nobody hires UK VA. So yeah, I get your point. Is it efficient? At the end of the day, business is about driving efficiencies. If at the end of the day, if a business isn't efficient and doesn't make money, then it fails, and that's probably a sign that the model wasn't going to work in the current marketplace. there's a reason why lots of companies 200-300 years ago don't exist today, because their models have changed. We have to adapt. The world's changing. Kevin Young, I recently hired a VA from you, and I want to have 3 in by the end of year 2 sourcing and 1 payment manager. Can you give me advice on the pay scale for sourcing, bonus, etc., and what salary? Kevin, I'd really recommend in about 2.5 hours. I think it's 2 hours time. So it's now 10 to 10, so 12 o'clock my time. So 2 hours and 10 minutes. I do a VA Academy weekly call. Look at the Fast Track FBA VA Academy private Facebook group. You can join that. Ask that question. I'll give you a lot more information. But if you want the short answer, when you hire a VA from us, you get access to the MBA workbook. In the MBA workbook, go to the bonus schemes. You'll see that, and then load up the big bonus scheme, and you'll see what we recommend paying for, like purchasing manager, purchasing assistant, sourcing VA, admin VA. It's all in there. You can see it all. It's on that bonus scheme calculator. That makes sense. Right, guys, I've got about 9 minutes. Let me know if you've got any more questions. Drop them down below. But hey, it's been a good session. Some good questions. Different today. Different. I'm really happy. So thank you. Aaron, in regards to OA, is there a ballpark BSR other FBA sellers keep in mind? Faster sales model. Look, at the end of the day, most people probably go sub 100,000. If you want to do faster, you might do sub 50,000 BSR. Again, if that's UK, if you're doing USA, you might do sub 250. But if I give you a really good example, let's say, for example, at 100,000 BSR, the product's selling 10 units per month. And there's another product at 150,000 selling 5 units per month. But let's say, for example, the 10 units per month has got 10 sellers on it. But if you average it all out, you're going to make 1 sell each. But the 50 sales unit, the 5 unit per month, sales rank 150, it's got 1 seller on it. Share that out, make 2.5 sales per month each. So BSR is a dangerous game in the fact that, yes, it gives you a good indication of the listing sales, but also what you need to consider is the competition on said listing, and that's going to influence how many sales you're doing for faster sales. So you might actually find some of the higher ones, less competition, more cash profits, higher ROIs, and the net result is actually you might not sell so much per listing, but you might sell and also make more money. I hope that makes sense. Good question there, really, really good. Litton James, Tom, just another question. As there are a lot of wholesalers, one second, I'm about to sneeze. As there are a lot of wholesalers that don't like to entertain. Okay, as there are a lot of wholesalers who does not entertain Amazon sellers, would it be a good idea to create your own website to get wholesalers out? You can. I don't know the answer, but I think, look, let me give you a statistic which I know internally myself. Right now, we're starting Wholesale. So my ops manager is calling wholesalers, messaging them. He gets about an 80% success rate. So he's like, right now, Tom, I've been doing it for 3 weeks and I've got too many price lists. I can't scan them all, so I'm going to stop for 2 weeks while the team catch up. I was like, cool. So when you say there's a lot of wholesalers that does not entertain Amazon sellers, I'm assuming you mean more than 50% saying no. I would say that my guy is getting 80%, 20% saying no. So I think perhaps maybe there's something you're doing whereby you're telling them you're an Amazon seller, well, we probably don't. I'm not saying if they ask, we'll tell them, but it's not something that we're doing. So I think for you is maybe you're doing something not as great as you could do, and the net result is you're getting a lot of rejections. Website might help, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's necessary. Jeff Johnson says, thanks, Tom. Cool. Guys, if you've got questions, drop it down below. I've got 7 minutes. Obviously, I can answer any more questions. But obviously, this is, my chance to answer your questions here to help you. I can talk about me, but you watch enough of my videos, you're probably super bored. But hey, let's go. So, Ishak, do you have any long-term goals, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Yeah, I had something. I was talking to someone about it. Really interesting. A couple of things. I'd like to get to the point of whereby we make £1 million net profit per year. So 100,000 a month. I think that'd be really nice. Retire by 40. So I'm now 36. So that's 44. Not retire, but like really hands off in the business, cash flow generating, like very much investor. Like you have a meeting once a month about P&Ls, strategy, ops, and then the team do it all. That'd be where I'd like to go. And I'd still very much like to be in the space, probably from a social media aspect and like meeting people, learning, but not so hands-on, more advisory role. I think that'd be cool. And you know, $1 million profit a year, I'd be very happy with. I think it's very doable. You know, you look at even like, I know a guy doing 8 million a year in the US, and he'll net out, probably about $1 million a year. And building, he's got a team of 30 VAs, so can do it. So yeah. What's the new prep center in Florida? Oh, I've completely got the names. Do check out. It's Ava. Give me 2 seconds. Gotta get this right. Not that one. I want to go this one. I want to go camera. No, sorry. I think it's Fast and Forward Prep Center. That's it. Check them out. I went and met them. They're in Florida. They're really cool. They're just north of Tampa. I drove up. Ava, I went and met her. Really cool. We did do a video together, so I'm going to release that at some point, along with some other content. So check that out. I think that'll be helpful. By the way, Ishak, let me know what your long-term goals are. Be good to know. I think for me, I just want to have financial security, still be involved in business, and just have fun. If I can do it now, but have fun. Prep center, cool. Jason, in regards to wholesale, how are you scanning the price list, manual software, which I'm using? Scan Unlimited, it's not brilliant. We're looking at trying new ones. If anyone's got any advice, let me know in the comments down below. But I do think we do that, and then we kind of do a bit of a manual approach on the ones which come out reasonably okay. So we do have a process that we're defining, but we want to do it first before we release it. So we need to make sure we're like, look, as much as I talk to you about this, unless I'm successful, I'm just telling you how not to do it. So I can't really tell you what we're doing because I haven't proven it's worked. If it works, then I can tell you. If I can't, then it doesn't work. So Scan Unlimited, but it's having a lot of problems. So we're going to go try some other software now. I hope that makes sense. Dan Smith, can you share the info of the new prep center in Florida? Yeah, Fast and Forward Prep Center. I hope that makes sense. Guys, any final questions before we finish? Tom's run out of WeWork coffee. Remember, do what you love every day. And yeah, I will say I do love talking to you guys. Like, hopefully you enjoy these sessions. If you do, let me know. Give me a big thumbs up. Do give that thumbs up. It's nice just to share and obviously share the Amazon journey, help you guys out. There's a lot going on, and like people say, is the Amazon game saturated? Yeah, it's getting more saturated. Yeah, I won't die. More people are starting. We know that for a fact. Also, as well, we're coming out of COVID. February is typically a hard month, so it is a tough time. The other one as well is that like Russia and Ukraine, that's having a lot of inflationary problems. People are being a bit more careful. Fuel prices are going up. I just think, look, we're not going to die. We're not saying we're going to die, but like the idea is to say that the world isn't got a lot going on. It's typically a hard time, so like it's a tough time in Amazon right now. But I do think we're going to come back. Q4 is going to be another good time. Like that's going to happen. So yeah. Aaron, our prep center is good investments early on. I suppose any difference amount of profit per unit. Yeah, I think also, Aaron, I do understand your point. Work out your revenue per hour. I did an interview with Dan Gilmore in the UK. He was earning £87 per hour. So for every hour he was prepping, £87 at 50p per unit, he would have to prep 174 units per hour to equal that. And I'm not saying he's even adding value. So long as he was prepping more than 174 units per hour at 50p per unit, then he would be on the same per hour rate, i.e. saving it from the prep center and by doing it himself. But if you're making £87 per hour average wage, you're looking at doing activities which generate you more than £87 per hour and getting rid of activities which are generating you less than £87 per hour. And ironically, prep doesn't make money. Prep is a process. But finding more deals, investing in them, that makes you money. So I think that's my kind of takeaway. Hope that makes sense. Dan Smith, thank you. Cool, Dan Smith. How much dollar do you add on for your ROI using Prep Center? I think we're about, for US, I think about $1. That's it. I think we're about $1 per item. Fantastic. Cool. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. It's pretty much 10 a.m. on the dot, or 12 p.m. in US time. So I just want to say thank you very much for everyone joining me. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much. I will be back next week. If you've liked, give me a big thumbs up. Hey, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. But for myself, I'll catch up with you next week. I should be in Florida. I should be in Florida next week, but I will leave you to it. Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.